Hi everyone, I am Sujani, faculty in physics at Institute of Aeronautical Engineering. Today we are going to see one experiment which is used to determine the width of a given single slit. The brief outline of the experiment is: A. You need to know apparatus, theory or the formula, circuit diagram, procedure, observation table, calculations, model graph and result, as well as viva voice. This is the order which we are going to follow in discussing the experiment. Now the aim of the experiment is to determine the width of a single slit using laser diffraction. The source that we are using here is the laser light, because laser is monochromatic, means it has single wavelength, sharp and focused. So that is why we are using laser, and the phenomenon we are using here is diffraction. So diffraction here is again the bending of the light around the corners of the obstacle. So using laser light and the phenomenon of diffraction, we are going to determine the width of a given single slit. Now the apparatus required: laser source. This is the source of laser. Single slit. So here you can see the slit. This is the slit actually. Okay. And the width of the slit can be adjusted with the help of a screw here. You can adjust the width of the screw because we keep the width slightly greater than the wavelength that we are using. Then we have a screen. So this is the screen. Sometimes we use a wall, a plain wall, whitewashed wall as a screen, and then a meter scale to measure the distances. Let us see the theory behind it. Light arrives at the slit, illuminating it uniformly and in phase across its width. Whatever light that comes from the laser source and falls on the slit, it falls uniformly and it illuminates the slit uniformly across its width. Now, when we consider this light propagating onwards from different parts of the same slit. Now, from the slit, if this is the slit, the light that is coming and falling at different points on the slit, it is equally illuminated. But afterwards, when it falls here, each point here on the slit will now act as a secondary source. According to Huygens principle, every point on the wavefront in the slit emits secondary wavelets. So each point is acting as a secondary source and emitting secondary wavelet. And they are like rays. They start out in phase and they will now spread in all directions. So after being incident here, because of the diffraction that happens at the slit, they bend around the corners and they move in different directions. Now we assume that the screen is very far compared to the size of the slit, and the rays are heading towards a common point and they are parallel. So if we are talking about rays that are coming from a distant point, we always consider them as parallel rays, and they travel straight ahead, they remain in phase, and we have a central maxima at the center. We are calling all the rays that are arriving at the center point on the screen will contribute to the central maxima. But what about the rays that are traveling at an angle? So they travel at an angle relative to the original direction. Each ray travels a distance, a different distance, and reach a common point. They arrive in or out of phase. Sometimes, depending upon the angle they are bending, they may arrive in phase or out of phase depending on the length of the path that they are traveling. Now, if you consider this is the source and this is the slit, those rays coming from this point, and if this is the screen, this is the screen, this is the slit, this is the source. So those coming from this point, say on a screen at P, and the ones which are coming at the other end from here, they are differing by a distance of 1 wavelength lambda. The ray from the bottom travels a distance of 1 wavelength lambda farther than the ray from the top. So if you are talking about the two rays, one from here and one from here, one is traveling a distance lambda more than the other one. The one which is coming from here is traveling a distance of lambda more. Now, if you consider slits, and we are always talking in terms as a center with respect to the center. So if you are talking about one here at the end of the slit and one from the center, those rays coming from this point and the center will differ in wavelength by lambda 2. So one at the bottom of the slit arrives at the out of phase, and when they are coming out of phase, they are interfering destructively. So when they are in phase, it is constructive interference, and when they arrive out of phase, it is destructive interference. Now, light passing through the single slit is diffracted in all directions. It may interfere constructively depending upon the path length, and if it is in phase, it is interfering constructively, or if it is out of phase, it is interfering destructively. That is all depending upon the angle. Now, the difference in the path length means the length of the path that is traveled by the ray, okay, from either side of the slit is considered to be d sine theta. So now we are going to use this formula. The difference in path length lambda, n lambda, is given by d sine theta. Now we'll see the pattern, how the diffraction pattern is produced here. A single slit produces an interference pattern characterized by a broad central maxima. So if you see here, this spot which you see is broad, and this is called the central maxima. It is broad also and it is bright also. So this is the central maxima. And then you see other spots on either side of the central maxima. They are dim and also they are narrow. This is n is equal to 1 and this is n is equal to 2 on the right. Same way on the left we have n is equal to 1 and n is equal to 2. So this is the central maxima, which is broad and bright, and then on to the left you have n is equal to 1 and n is equal to 2, first order and secondary, or say first order and second order secondary maxima, which are narrow and less bright. Same thing on the right side also we have for n is equal to 1 and n is equal to 2. So let us understand how to measure the distances now. So if this is the central maximum, the light from the slit comes and falls. Those rays which are going straight will reach the point at the center, and this corresponds to the central maximum. So this is the central maximum. Now the one which is on the left, you have n is equal to 1 and n is equal to 2. First order maxima, secondary maxima, and second order secondary maxima. And again on the right, P is equal to 1 or n is equal to 1, first order secondary maxima and second order secondary maxima. Now the width of the slit can be calculated using the formula A is equal to n lambda upon sine theta. A here is the width of the slit. N is the order of the diffraction pattern. If you are doing for the first order, we write n is equal to 1. And if we are doing for the second order, we write n is equal to 2. We also have different orders. We may have more diffraction pattern, maybe of the order n is equal to 3, 4, 5 and so on. But they are so dim and so narrow, which may be difficult for us to determine the distances. So we are considering here the first order and second order, even though we are able to see the higher orders also, but they are very dim and also very, very narrow. Now the wavelength of the light is given by lambda. So you can calculate using the values n, lambda and theta. You can calculate the width of the slit.
Let us now see the demo of diffraction due to single slit. The aim of the experiment is to determine the width of a given slit using laser diffraction. Apparatus required is a single slit whose width we have to find, a laser source, then a screen to capture the diffraction pattern, and this wall serves as the screen here. We need a meter tape to measure the distances and a graph paper to point the central maxima and the secondary maxima of the diffraction pattern. Now let us start with the procedure. Keep the laser source and the slit, say at a distance of 15 centimeter, at the same height and along the same line. The laser light has to come and fall directly on the slit, and the width of the slit can be adjusted using this screw. When you rotate the screw, the width of the slit keeps on varying. We need to keep the width of the slit very small because we will be able to see the diffraction pattern only when the width of the slit is comparable with the wavelength of light. Now, light that is falling on the slit will bend around the corners of the obstacle, and this phenomenon is known as diffraction. When light from the source falls on the slit, each point on the slit acts as a secondary source and sends out secondary wavelets. These waves interfere with each other and we get the diffraction pattern. Now, after adjusting the distance between the source and the slit as 15, fix the distance between the screen and the slit, say 100 centimeters. We will keep the slit at a distance of say 1 meter from the screen. Note it as capital D. Now let us switch on the laser source and observe the diffraction pattern. This is the diffraction pattern we observe here on the screen. This is the central maxima. We have the secondary maxima on the left and also the secondary maxima on the right. Now, this is the first order secondary maxima, second order, third order and so on. As the order increases, the intensity of light goes on decreasing. The same happens on the right too. Now, we have to measure the position of the central maxima, mark the position of the central maxima. Then the secondary maxima, first order secondary maxima, then second order secondary maxima on the left. We will mark now the secondary maxima on the right. This is the first order secondary maxima on the right, second order secondary maxima on the right. Now let us see how to measure the distances. This denotes the central maxima. This is central maxima. These are the secondary maxima on the left and the right. Now, the distance from the central maxima to the first order, n is equal to 1 on the left. This gives us D1. And the distance from the central maxima on to the right, this gives us D2. This is also n is equal to 1. So, the average of the two distances D1 plus D2 by 2 gives us D for the first order. In a similar way, note the distance for the second order. This is n is equal to 2. This distance from the central maxima to the second order is D1 on the left and n is equal to 2 on the right. So the distance from here to here is again D2. So again the average of this will give us D. Once you get small d, you can easily calculate. Once you get small d, you can easily calculate sine theta using the formula d upon under root small d square plus capital D square, where capital D is the distance between the screen and the slit. Then using the formula A is equal to sine theta upon n lambda, we can easily calculate the width of the slit. Now, vary the distance between the screen and the slit. Say let it be 80 centimeters. Keep it at a distance of say 80 centimeters and repeat the steps again. Keep this distance as 80. You will get the diffraction pattern again and note down D1 and D2 as we have done for the first distance. Calculate the average value of D and note the value of A.
Yes, a quick recap of the procedure. We have fixed the slit to the stand at an appropriate height and we have set the laser horizontally on the table, arranging the distance between the two. The distance between the source and the slit, say 15 centimeter we have put, and we have adjusted the position of the slit such that it is in the path of the laser beam. Means the laser beam and the slit are both at the same height and along the same line. Now we switch on the laser. Once we switch on the laser, we see the diffraction pattern on the screen. Now we select a distance of capital D 100 centimeters between the slit and the screen. Now here we are keeping capital D as 100. That is the distance between the slit and the screen. So here if this is the slit and this is the screen, this distance capital D we are putting it as 100 first. Now we measure the distances of first and second order from the center point. We are going to measure always the distances from the center point. Now the distance from the center point or the central maxima to the first order on the left, we are marking it as D1. This is D1. And the distance from the center to the secondary maxima, first order on the right is D2. So D1 on the left and D2 on the right. This is for the first order. So the distance from the central maxima to the center point of the first maxima on the right is D2. So on the left is always D1 we consider, and on the right we consider it as D2. This is for the first order. So because we have seen the width varies when we are talking about the pattern, these are like this. So you need to take care that you always take it from the center to the center. So this distance will be D1. Again from this center to this center, because you may get confused which point do we have to take from the start or from the end. Of course, the central maxima is very broad. So the center point, and here you have to mark, this is D2. And as you have seen, what we do for convenience sake in the demo you have seen, we are keeping the graph paper and then plotting the points for accuracy. Now we will repeat the same for second order also. For the second order, n is equal to 2. On the left we consider D1 and on the right we consider it as D2. And now we are going to repeat the same steps for different distances. We are going to vary the distance between the slit and the screen. Now we will keep it as 150 centimeter and repeat the procedure. That is, obtain the diffraction pattern and note down the values of D1 and D2. You may do it for two different distances and tabulate the readings. So how we go about is, for the first reading, where we have put capital D as 100 centimeters. For the first order, n is equal to 1, small d1, that is the distance from the central maxima to the first order maxima on the left 0.5, on the right it is 0.5. So we get the average, d is equal to d1 plus d2 by 2, that is 0.5. So once you get small d and you know capital D, we can easily find the value of sine theta using this formula. Small d under root d square plus capital D square. We are getting 0.00499. The sample calculation I'll be showing you. Then knowing the value of sine theta, we can calculate the value of A, and the wavelength of the laser source is known. So the width of the slit is 0.011 centimeter. We are doing everything is in centimeter. The distance we have kept in centimeter. Here also, if we are measuring it in millimeters also, you need to convert it into centimeters and right. So all these distances are in centimeters. So we also get the slit in centimeter. So let us see one sample calculation for D is equal to 100. So for D is equal to 100, we have D1 is also 0.5 and D2 is also 0.5. So the average value of D is D1 plus D2 by 2. D1 plus D2 by 2. So we get 0.5 plus 0.5 by 2. It is obvious. So it is 0.5. So once you get the value of D, we are going to calculate the value of sine theta. Sine theta is equal to 0.5 on under root 0.5 square plus capital D is 100 square. So we get the value as 0.00499, or we may also write it as 4.99 into 10 power minus 3. Also you can mention it as. Now, once you get the value of sine theta, you can find the value of A using n lambda upon sine theta. We are doing it for the first order, n is equal to 1. So 1, and the wavelength of the light source we have taken is 5000 angstrom unit. So we are writing 5000 angstrom into 10 power minus 8 because I am converting it into centimeter, because all the distances we have taken in centimeters. So we are taking the wavelength also in centimeters. So 1 into 5800 into 10 power minus 8 is the value of lambda upon sine theta. We have got it as 4.99 into 10 power minus 3. So this gives us the value of A as 0.011 centimeter. So this is the width of the slit. Now we are repeating it for different distances, capital D as 150 or 120, and take the average of all the readings and find the result, and write the result as the average value is denoted as the result. So the width of the slit is found to be 0.011 centimeter. Thank you.
Like, share and subscribe. Hit the bell icon for more updates.